Hello everyone, Ron here from HEISTMAN'S Hit the Road. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we wrap up our stay at Fort Wilderness Resort and move to Tropical Palms Resort in Kissimmee, Florida. We'll give you a walking tour of Tropical Palms and our site, share some insight on our Encore Parks and Thousand Trails membership, and give you an update report on my ClearChoice dental implant. We're happy you're here and eager to get started, so buckle up and let's hit the road. All right, so we're bugging out of Fort Wilderness. It's checkout day, and we got about an hour. Got to check out 11 a.m. Mind you, you can't check in till 3 p.m. You have to be out by 11 a.m. The good thing about that is every time somebody checks out, and I think I mentioned this before, they come around and they wash down the pads. They really police the sites pretty good, you know. So they're at least taking advantage of that time. Problem is today we have about a 20-minute drive over to Tropical Palms and we can't check in until noon. So we're going to find a place to lay up. We're going to try to lay up front before we go out the gate. If we can't, then we're going to go past Tropical Palms. We're going to lay up in Cracker Barrel down the road outside of Sherwood Forest. Then when it's time, we'll have to get back out to 192, do a whoopee, head back the other way, and go to Tropical. We've only camped at Tropical Palms once, so I don't know if they'll take you in early at all. I don't know. So we're going to find out. Don't have a lot to do. We have an hour, like I said. I'm all unhooked with utilities except for electrical and cable. Well, Elaine, our granddaughter's watching the cable, so keeping her occupied inside so Grandma Ema doesn't have to, worry too much about it. I have to go on the roof. Starlink is not on the roof, but I have to go on the roof to blow it down before we bring the slides in because we've heard pine cones fall. And every day I have to blow down the pad, because a lot of stuff are coming out of all these trees. So that's a must. Have to blow it down before we bring the slides in. Starlink's going to be pretty easy. It's down here in the ground. So we don't have a lot to do. Bring the slides in, get it on hitch, and get. So, all right, today's the day. It's bullshit day, as Oliver would say. He did not like moving days. He thought they were bullshit. So, okay. I will say this much about this park. You don't have to walk far to get rid of your trash. They're located very close. There's a lot of them around, and they do recycle too. So you can recycle and leave your trash very close to your rig. Ours is basically across the road. It's quiet. I've said before, at 10 p.m. at night, Magic Kingdom sets off its fireworks show. But, hey, it's a wonderful show. You can go back. I'll link that video in the description of this video. It is very tight in here. Let me turn this camera around. Unfortunately, I think we got one of the tightest sites. You can't even bring our awning out because of these trees. And really, we don't have a lot of room. In order to have room to even access our outside kitchen, or what I call the man cave, I have to bring the picnic table over here kind of over the top of the timbers. And you can see where their site is. It's right there, so we were right on top of each other, basically. There are better sites. This is a preferred site, I think she said. Jackie booked this, and they have more expensive sites, and as you drive through the park, you'll learn that some of these sites are better than others, right? And that's true in any park, I would believe. A lot of spiders. I went ahead and I sprayed all these nests, but haven't knocked them down yet. Like I said, all I have is cable and electric left. There's the honey wagon. That'll go back on the ladder when I'm done. And this drops off so bad here. I mean, holy crap. Let me turn this around. I'll show you. But I'm standing straight up here, and I have to really climb up that ladder. It's quite a ways. So let's see if you can see how, if I had to take the generator off here, it'd be a real task. But yeah, so I do have to get up there and blow that roof down, like I said. And I don't pretend to be a tall guy by any means, but usually they don't drop off quite like this in the back. This is why you come up on your roof before you bring the slides in. Not good. I don't see any pine cones. They must have rolled off. Wow. Okay. So Disney's Fort Wilderness Campground Resort went ahead and policed the site I picked up. Here's the take and score. 10 stake. Make campsites clean again. MCCA Mecca. If we all do our part, we'll all have a better camping experience. We are laying up at the overflow parking lot just before the exit here in Fort Wilderness. Nobody's come along and chirped, and we're not the only ones in here. So there's other campers over there. And we did find out for some friends that Tropical Palms will let you line up at the gate. So I don't know, maybe we'll head over there when our arrival says it's supposed to be 11:40 or 11:45, but right now it says it's about 11:36. So we turned in there and just kind of pulled way over here to the right, and we couldn't go any further forward because there's another car here ahead of us, and we need room to get out of here, so we stopped here. See you, Tropical Palms. We are safely at our next destination. We're at Tropical Palms RV Resort in Kissimmee, Florida. We're here for 21 nights. So here at Tropical Palms, we're in site 233. Been here a little over a week, and when we first got here, the grass hadn't been mowed. It was quite long, and found I thought I found 3 piles of dog doo-doo, but it ended up being only 2. Got a hold of the office. They sent a text message asking how was our site, let them know if we need anything. And I said, yeah, well, can you send somebody to cut the grass maybe, and pick up, I said, several piles of dog, poo. So gentleman came, very nice guy, works here, of course, on a cart, and I showed him the 2 I could find, and he goes, well, I'll have to go get a shovel. But he did come back and clean up, and I thanked him, and I asked him about the grass, and he said, well, they contract that, so they couldn't do it. But they did mow the grass, cut the grass over the weekend here, I think it was. It's either Friday or Saturday, I believe. And it made the site a lot better. They didn't catch all the high spots, and they didn't get the weed trimmer out, but it made it a lot better. So this is how we're parking Max out front, okay? Here's the, the back side of our site. You can see where they mowed, but then where the utilities are, the sewer pipe and the hoses and the electric, they didn't cut that grass, of course. This site over here, it's been empty since we've been here. It's a pretty good site, really, as long as all the utilities work, and I have no reason to believe they don't. But it looks pretty level, and it's a pretty decent site, and it remains empty. Okay, they put us in site 233, and as you've already seen, we're right up against the utilities here. The water and the electric are way in the back there. So I could have backed up, I guess. I could see where the people before me had their carpet down, so I said, well, let's try to catch that, so that's why we put it there. So 233, the numbers are wore off, unless you can make them out. There's the numbers. That's what's left of them. And as you can see, we get this tree system here, right? There's a pine tree, and there's an oak tree, by looking at it, and a palm tree. And over here is another palm tree, right? And you can see the root system here is, it rises up and it makes a high spot right here, right? The root system off this pine tree here makes a really high spot. So I could have put the camper back even further, probably, looking at it now. So this is what we have. We got plenty of room to diagonal park up ahead. So getting to the truck, you have to walk over the top of this high spot. And in the dark, I guess it could be an ankle getter. You can see where it's, the carpet's even rising up here onto that high spot. If I had it to do over, I probably would have put it back further. But the other thing I want to point out is where the stone is over there. I couldn't get these wheels on the stones, okay, because we're right up against the utilities on the other side now. So I've got, 4.5 inches of wood underneath this side to get it level. And I don't like to bring the wheels off the ground. The only way, without the wood, the only way to get this camper level would be to bring these wheels off the ground. And I don't like doing that. So that's why we do carry wood. Hello, Elena. And that's why we carry wood. And I don't like to do it any other way. So I'm sure they've had complaints about this site before. First choice? No, I don't think so. I think the other site would be better, because it's level and it doesn't have some of the issues this site has. There's a lot more grass over there, and over here it's all dirt, right? Well, what I'm saying is, the trees are pretty. you know. I think when we were here one other time, we were in that site next door. And I will tell you, it had been torrential raining for like a week here when we got here last time. And it was kind of a mud hole over there, but it did dry up well. So that's what I wanted to say. Since we've been here before, and it's been a couple of years, I think it was our first winter down here, so it would have been the winter of 2023. You see that trash can over there in front of that tree? Or, you know, between us and that blue Chevy pickup over there? They never used to do that, but they have those conveniently located around the park now, at least in this section. Down there at the end of the road, if you took a left, you go out front to the gate and then you leave the park. So when you're coming back here, this is typically where 1,000 trail members end up. So unless they upgrade and pay more money on top of what they normally pay for their camping package like us, you end up back here. Now on this side, they have sewer, electric, and water. But if you can see to the right of those dumpsters at the end of the road is another road that goes back, and there's 2 roads over there. And those are just electric and water. There's no sewer. And if there are no sites left here with sewer, then you end up over there. So you gotta, you gotta book as early as you can, especially during the winter. We're here during the summer right now, and there's a lot of empty spots. We came here because we have friends down in this area. They wanted us to come down because it's closer to Disney. We have our granddaughter Elena, like most of you know, and we've been going to Disney a lot. So we came down here. Is it one of our first choices to campgrounds? No, it's not. But, you know, we stayed at Sherwood Forest right down the road several times since that first winter. And to tell you the truth, you know, this campground is quieter. There's less sirens that you could hear, a lot less helicopter traffic overhead. Up front, this park is beautiful. I mean, they have some really nice sections up front. I've never asked what it would cost to upgrade, or even if it's possible to upgrade a site. I heard it is, but I've never asked what it would take. So the next time we're thinking about booking here, I'll have that discussion with somebody at 1,000 Trails. I don't think I gave a really good walk around of this site when we stayed here. We weren't doing our YouTube channel back then, so I'll probably during our stay here go ahead and do a walk around and let y'all see what the park really is like. There's 3 roads on this side. Let me turn this around again. There's a half road that runs back there, and I mean half road because it comes out just the other side of our camper, right? So it doesn't go all the way to where the dumpsters are at the end of the road. And then there's another full length road, as long as this one is, on the back. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of campers. And of course, this end road has a short row of campers. And that's just on this side. It's a pretty good sized park, and you'll see it's really pretty up front. It would be a great 1,000 Trails member park if they would, fix this area up. Put concrete pads down or whatever it takes. At least make them level, right? And hey, I like the trees. They're beautiful, right? But the other downside of having these trees here that I didn't mention yet is we can't get our awning only halfway out. And that's because of this palm tree right here. Okay, the awning bangs right into the palm tree, and I'm 100% sure this was the site we were in the first time we were here. And what was really cool about it, and not all these people are 1,000 Trail transients like we are. They only have so many 1,000 Trail sites here. A lot of them are annuals and seasonals, right? This site down here on the end, I'm looking at it here. It's got this Tourmaster Class A in it. I don't know if it's the same people that were here the first time we were here, but they had a feeder out here, and the deer would come out every night. Well, I just got confirmation from the gentleman in that Class A. He came out with this beautiful dog named Daisy, and he was not here in the winter of 23. He started after that, so that was not him. And he said he was unaware. He's been here for 3 years though, and unaware that there were deer in the park until he came in yesterday, and we saw them too. They were up front and they were outdoors. There was like I don't know, 6, 7 of them. But I told him the story about deer at his site and the gentleman that used to feed him there. So it was a good conversation. He's a nice gentleman. Right here is where you get your propane tank refilled if you'd like to. I know I did that back in the winter of 2023. The big dumpsters are right across the road here. This section back here I was telling you about. They do not have sewer hookups back here, but you have water and electric. And the dump station at this park is right here, so you can dump your tanks before you leave if you happen to, be staying at a sewerless site. This is where they have bingo. We haven't played this summer or since we've been here because I don't think they do it on what they call the off season would be summer, right? When all the snowbirds are down here, all winter, there's bingo at least once a week in here. And Jackie and I did play when we stayed here in 2023. There was a couple camped right behind us when we were here. They're from Canada. Do not recall their names. They were great people, and we would come down here with them and play bingo. So come around the corner from the dump station. There's the dog park over there. It's a nice dog park with plenty of shade, right? Lots of these dog parks are out in the open, and they don't have any shade for the owners to kind of stay with their dogs and not get burnt to a crisp. You can see this section, like I told you, up front, it's beautiful. These lawns were well mowed when we showed up, and they're still that way. They have concrete sites. They have nice palm trees, full hookup. This is the back side of the building where we played bingo, right? You can see these beautiful landscaping, these flowered bushes. Somebody would know the name of them, but I do not. And as I was saying, being the off season, there's a lot of empty spaces in this park. But I will tell you, none of these sites are Thousand Trails member sites, okay? And if all the Thousand Trail member sites are being utilized here, you don't get in. So it's an Encore park, so it's part of Thousand Trails, and we have the package for Encore. But the way it works is all these parks only have so many member sites. And if they're full, well, your membership doesn't mean anything at that point because they're going to tell you they don't have any spot for you. So at that point, you'd have to, I don't even know if they'd let you upgrade off your membership. You'd probably have to, if I'm getting it right, you'd probably have to pay full price for a campsite if you wanted to stay here. Just anybody that's, wondering if they should buy a Thousand Trails package, well, that's something that really you don't know up front, okay? And shame on us for not knowing that, but the good news is we bought an adventure package. It was used, but we bought it, and what that means is we can book 180 days out. A lot of people can only book 120. Some of them can only book 90. There are some really, really old packages that let them book even further out. And I don't know how far that is than 180. We can book 180 days out at 1,000 Trails, okay? A park like this being an Encore park, 90 days. That's the booking window, 90 days. But it's still, I don't know that anybody has a longer booking window than 90 days for Encore. But it could be one of those older programs, right? Okay, and with our package, our adventure package, we can stay 21 nights at a park before we have to leave the park, and then you could come back in. We always go for at least a week because who wants to move every couple of days, right? So we usually go out to another park, try to make it another 1,000 Trails or another Encore park for a week and then come back. Or sometimes we'll even stay 21 nights there because we can stay 21 nights at an Encore park and 21 nights at 1,000 Trails park. All right. I've never tried to get out of a park and come back in less than a week, but people say you can. People I know have told me that you just have to leave the park and after a day you can come back. I don't know how true that is. I will tell you this, down here in the winter time, Encore parks don't apply to this, what I'm about to tell you, but the 1,000 Trails parks in Central Florida do. That would be 1,000 Trails Orlando. It would be Three Flags, which is up in Wildwood. And it would be Peace River, which is down in Wauchula. Florida. All three of those parks are they're designated high-use parks. So between like December, I think, don't quote me on the dates, but like December 15th and sometime in March, I think, or even April, you can only have 2 high-use parks booked at any one time, right? During those high-use times. And you're limited to 14 days. Okay, so it isn't 21, it's 14. Now, if you want to leave Thousand Trails Orlando after your 14 days, go down the road to Lake Magic if you can get in there, book ahead and get in there. Then you can stay 21 nights there if you want, and then go back to TTO. And basically this summer, I had it all scheduled that way, just bouncing back and forth between TTO and Lake Magic. But then we decided, well, we're going to bring our granddaughter down. We're going to get seasonal tickets at Disney, and we're going to spend a lot of time at Disney. So we decided to stay at Fort Wilderness for 8 days or 8 nights at Disney. We decided to come down here, and we stayed at Sherwood Forest, and now we're staying at Tropical Palms because it's closer to Disney. So I had to cancel those and make these reservations, But as soon as this period's over, we're going to be dancing back and forth between TTO, Thousand Trails Orlando, and Lake Magic, okay? And that's when we're not at our new property up in the Panhandle, okay? Which we might be going up there Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. We're probably going to make that 6-7 hour drive up there depending on traffic, and stay probably until Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, because I'll bet you the grass looks like a jungle up there. And it's been raining a lot. It's been raining a lot here, really, and it's rained a lot up there in the Panhandle too. So I don't want it to get too long where I have too much trouble, mowing it, and I have to mow it 5 or 6 times and make it look good. So, and it doesn't hurt. I want to go up and I want to talk to the local cable company about getting internet service there, so I can get the blink cameras activated. I mounted them when we were up there last time, but I didn't have a way. I wasn't going to leave Starlink up there to drive them, so they're not of any use at this point. So, all right, let's continue on. Before we move on, there's this little channel that runs behind the bingo hall, I'm going to call it. You can see it. And once in a while you do see alligators in here. And I'm standing kind of in the middle of the putt-putt course. It's kind of a linear putt-putt course, but it's still a pretty nice putt-putt course. We have not played. We probably should play. Lena loves playing putt-putt. Just by the end of the day, we're pretty whipped because we've been, like today, we were at Blizzard Beach for 5.5 hours. The water park, one of Disney's water parks, okay? And you can see you got shuffleboard court right next door. So this is a decent park. It really is. All these, I'm going to call them tiny houses. I don't know what the heck they are. They're going to call them cabins. Some of them are annual, some of them are seasonal, and some of them you can rent nightly. If you don't have a camper, you can still stay at this park, in other words. That's still across the channel is that section where there's no sewer hookup. Okay. Bocce ball courts. See them? Bathhouses conveniently located around the park. Never been in one. We don't utilize the public bathhouses. We have a shower and facilities in the rig that work great, and no reason to use the public facilities. So unlike parks in the Northeast, these parks down here stay open year round. So, people that have annual sites are here year round. I believe there's some kind of stipulation or rule where you have to be out so many weeks. Don't quote me on that. Maybe they're here living year round in some of these sites. Well, it's getting dark, but I want to continue my walk around. I told Jackie I was going to do some filming. I didn't tell her I was going to walk around the whole park. She's probably wondering where I am. I do have my phone with me, so she can call. That canal coming turns right. You can see this stork or some sort of water bird down here. they say if you put your hand in a body of water in Florida and your hand gets wet, then there's alligators in it. We have seen small gators in this channel. We have not seen any alligators since we've been down here this year. So this is a well-groomed concrete pads. Still a very nice section. Now I don't know what the ratio is, you know, seasonal, annual, or transient. But there are some empty spaces, but that doesn't mean that they aren't seasonal and the people went home for the summer and they're going to be back this fall. I don't know. I wouldn't know how that works, and I'm sure all parks are different. This is the pond where we remember seeing alligators when we stayed here in 2023. They were just building this deck then. Came out really nice. Huh. Really nice deck. Beautiful. Now typically, alligators, you see them more during the day. They like to get up on the bank and sun themselves. Not so much in the evening. But I'm sure they're in here unless they just had them removed, and then if that's the case, they'll be back. There's that patio and the deck. Bathhouse over there, and then there's a whole another section that goes all the way up through there. This section is still going on here. It's a great park. It really is. A lot of people love this park. When we were at Disney's Fort Wilderness, Jackie actually met a lady, and they say they upgrade. They have a 1,000 Trails package. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much more they pay, but they upgrade to be in one of these better sections. So that's information I want to get more of. So I'd like to talk to that lady. And they were going to be over here. I don't know if they're here this week or next week, but I'd like to hook up long enough to, bend their ear about that and get an answer on that. And of course, I'll share it with y'all. This park is gated. You need a card to get in. There's a person in the gatehouse all the time, every time I've come through there. Unlike Sherwood Forest, where there's a gatehouse to get back in the section of the community where the campground is, it's not really, there's no gate, and the person inside really isn't checking everybody. So this is a lot more secure than Sherwood Forest, I believe. Okay. Now, can the wrong element get in other ways? Absolutely. You just can't drive in and out of here without going through the gate. Now there's another section over there, and there's a lot of empty sites. A lot of empty sites over there. More of these tiny houses, cabins. Another downside to this park is it's located in Kissimmee, and the traffic here, whew, it's bad all over Central Florida. But this park is located right off Route 192, or Earl Bronson Boulevard, I guess it's called. And that is one busy road. So, and depending on the time of the day, a lot of the roads that come from Disney intersect 192. So traffic down here can be brutal. And that's the other downside. But if Jackie and I were going to be like, we're going to buy one of these tiny home cabins and stay at a park full time, this would be a nice park. This is the 800 section, and this is pretty new and very nice. You can see how nice it is, but still, right, a lot of empty sites. Here's the back side of the office area. The gate's actually on the other side, and there's a bathhouse here as well. Okay, so out at the end of Holiday Drive, which intersects with 192 and ends back here where, the campground is Old Town. It's a get-together spot. It's very nice. They have car shows there Fridays and Saturdays. There's a lot of shops, and you can see sticking up over the horizon over that way, there's a slingshot ride, and they have one of those Superman swings, and they have some small rides and stuff. and some shops. Like I said, they have a big tall Ferris wheel. Here's the gate. Okay, gate in and out. Of course, to get out, all you have to do is pull up there, and that the arm rises, but you can't get in. You can walk in, but you can't drive in without a card. Now it's 8:19 right now, p.m. and it's getting pretty dingy. I've still got my sunglasses on, so it's getting dingy. My watch just talked to me. I don't know why. But I just wanted to show you the pool area and the playground area real quick. Lifestyle center over there. I don't know. Maybe there's a weight room there. I haven't looked into it. But it's a really nice pool. Seating area. They move all the umbrellas in at night so they don't get wasted out here in the wind at night. All except for that big main umbrella. That's really heavy duty over there. And you can see the pool. Very beautiful. And they have activities here and a bathhouse here, of course, too. We were pretty new with Thousand Trails when we first stayed here. And the reason we haven't really been back is, our spot was a muddy mess, and they just wouldn't move us. They wanted us to pay for a site if they moved us. And we left a kind of a bad taste in our mouths, and so we haven't been back. It's a good park, there's a lot back then we didn't understand, okay? And someday we'll talk to you about that too. But unless you're full-time camping like we are, I wouldn't have a Thousand Trails package. I don't think there's, especially one that you have to buy like we did up front. Ours is lifetime, and they don't sell this anymore. But I don't think you can make your money back unless you're full-time. And if you're full-time, you're going to save a ton of money. If you don't mind, kind of like, they kind of treat you like peasants once in a while. Certain parks are worse than others, okay? But once you understand where you stand in life, well, then you understand that, okay, you're saving money and it's worth it. To us, anyway. There's a splash pad over on the other side of that fence, and there is a playground right here. Since I've got to walk back to the camper, I might as well talk to you about something else. Last Friday, I went to ClearChoice. That was my appointment for my final fitting, I guess I'll call it. So they map my teeth again, and they do that with a scan, okay? And then they remove my teeth, and they put these sensing devices in the insert where the teeth mount to. Because the teeth actually screw in, right? Screw into these inserts, or these implants that don't come out, right? They put these devices in there, and then they map that. And they took an x-ray. They wanted to make sure it was all healing good, and there were no problems, no issues. I discussed my bite again with them and some changes maybe that we can make. What's going to happen is they're going to make my final teeth. And by final, I mean they're going to be custom made and custom fit to my mouth. And they're going to be very similar to size and length and, location of where my current temporaries are now in my mouth. The difference is these are acrylic, and they're going to be zirconia. They're much better teeth. They're smoother. They seal to the gums better, because right now they had to leave room for the gums to heal, right? So all the teeth came out. They stitched everything up, sutured everything, and my gums had to heal, right? And now they can get my teeth where they want to put them. So they seal off to my gums very well. Won't have to worry about stuff getting in there. And like I said, I can't get them out. They don't come out. They don't accidentally come out. The only way they can come out is on purpose, and they have to remove them, right? That happens on the 1st of September. So my new teeth should be ready on the 1st of September, and that's my next appointment. I'll go in, and they'll swap them out. They'll fit them and put them in. And after that, unless there's a problem or an emergency, I'll only have to go to a ClearChoice office once every year to maintain the warranty. They're guaranteed for life. But once a year, they want you to come in, and they're going to take them out, they're going to check them out, and they're going to clean them and do anything that they feel is necessary to make sure the teeth hold up and they're working and that you're good. And you can go to any ClearChoice office for that across the country, and they're all over the place. So Anyway, I'll let you know when that happens. Right now, these are still my temporary teeth. You know, when I first got them, they were like alien. It felt alien to chew. They just felt alien. You lose, you know, because your other teeth they have nerves unless you've had a root canal. And if you've had root canals, well, if you have even several teeth, that was done one at a time. So you really lose the whole feel for your bite and your, you know, chewing. And it's really, really strange. And every day gets better. Now, you know that I was all black and blue and I was sore and I was swelled up, but that's very, very natural. That's what happens. So if you should decide to do this, expect the same, okay? But in the end, I've met several people that have had this done, okay? But not just with ClearChoice, all over the place, because, you know, this is a retirement area down here. And nobody regrets doing it long term. So, all right, that's the update. And here's Max. And here's B, our camper. And I'm home. So, got to go in and face the music. Jackie's going to wonder where the heck I've been. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please like and subscribe. And also, click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when new material hits our channel. From Rohn and Jacki at HEISTMAN'S Hit the Road, have a great day, and thanks for watching.